Got it.
You coming in?
Yeah, I'll just be with her. Do I have to do this or not?
Yeah, you should. Yeah. If you,
It's 5 o'clock. Should we start right on the button? Yes? Okay. I'd like to call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, March 8th, 2022 at 5 p.m. It's being held and transmitted electronically via council chambers located at 39 South Shore Road in Lake Cowichan, BC. We are thankful to meet on the unceded territory of the Subots, people of the lake, where we live, work, and play in harmony. We called it to order at 5 o'clock on the button. Introduction of any late items. Councillor Sandhu.
Thank you. I would like to introduce under, I don't know if new business, Lakeview Beach Gate.
Lakeview Beach Gate. That would be number A. I guess we'll make that number A. Anything else? Miss Mayor Day?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just like under reports, I guess, where do we want to put it? Just let's call it reports D if we could, and just call it Mayor's report. I just have one small item to report to council.
Mayor's report, D under reports. Okay, all right. Anything else? Do I have a mover to accept the agenda with the amendments? Councillor McGonigal, Councillor Sandhu, all those in favor? And we're away. Number 4, minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on February 8th, 2022. Do I have a motion to accept those? Councillor Sandhu, seconder. Mayor Day, any questions or concerns or corrections? Councillor Sandhu. Whoa.
My phone. I wasn't actually at the meeting, so I actually can't vote.
Okay, well, would Councillor McGonigal like to be the mover? He's a mover and a shaker, I tell you. Okay, so there are no other queries. Do we have all those in favor of accepting those minutes? I guess I'll vote too. Okay, business arising and ongoing business. There's nothing. No delegations or representations. Correspondence action items, none. Information or consent items, none at the moment. Reports. First report is A, Finance and Administration. Ms. Gill, please.
Hi, thank you. So the statements are here. Just wanted to point out that the prior year's numbers are not yet finalized. So there are still year-end adjustments being done, and the 2022 budget numbers are also preliminary. There's still information forthcoming from other jurisdictions, and so those will be finalized soon. The municipal office been busy with tax and utility bill payments, dog tag sales, business license renewals, and on the weekend, Lakeview Park Campground was opened, and that went relatively smooth. We had just over 230 reservations on that first day. So lastly, I have here a chart of the homeowner grants claimed from 2008 to 2021. It's just helpful to know that for those people owning homes in Lake Cowichan, the ones over 65 are almost totaling the ones under 65. Of course, this does not take into account those homes that are rental homes or not occupied where a homeowner grant is not claimed. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions? Councillor McGonigal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you. That would include secondary units, people with recreational properties, for instance, as a second home.
Yes, so they would not be eligible for grants. So they would not be included. These are just homes where people live in the home. The homeowner lives in the home and is claiming a grant. But it's just interesting to note that fairly soon we'll be equal. The number of homes, homeowners living in Lake Cowichan that own their homes, the ones over 65 are almost equaling the ones under 65. So
Interesting. Counselor Sandhu, you had your hand?
Thank you. No, I just had a question, and I think I ask this every once in a while. Under business licenses, under revenue, is the actual what is billed out, or is what has been paid to date?
that's what has been billed, not paid to date.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Day, did you have something? I thought I saw your hand.
There was just a small list that Councillor Sandhu forwarded. I'd sooner leave those questions to you, Councillor Sandhu, than it was COVID relief fund balance, roof replacement at the Info Center, and the Mildred Child Center. So those were 3 items, and I wouldn't want to ask the questions for you. So
in my email, I was fine just getting an email just with the COVID balance, just how that works, because we've asked for a couple months now and we didn't get any clarification. Just how that process works. Does it roll over? Does it, like, what happens with the funds?
Well, the COVID grant actually was revenue for the prior year and has rolled over into surplus. The monies that were spent in 2021, that is something that we are in the process of finishing for year end. So we'll have a balance for you with the audited financial statements.
Okay. Thank you. Does that answer all your questions?
Should we talk about the other 2 items or just, okay. So the other, I just had a question regarding the Info Center roof. I noticed last year, it's been on the agenda for a couple of years. And I'm just wondering if there's a date of when, or whoever the contractor is, or whatever the process is, if we have a date.
Oh,
Sound back on. Well, we've gone out for quotes and tenders 3 times, and each time I've issued a PO, the work hasn't, they've not been able to fulfill their responsibilities. So we've now found somebody who's willing to do it, and hopefully we'll have it done by June.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. The third one was regarding, I just wanted a conversation in the future about the Mildred, what's it called? The Mildred, pardon me? Yes, the building. And just, I'd love to have a conversation about what made the decision to tear down that building. And is there future discussion regarding to keep it and maybe do what you have to fix it up and then rent it out or something? I just think to me, it's a heritage. That used to be our old library. And I think there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of memories and whatnot for people. And I'm just wondering if there's a reason why it has to be torn down.
I can kind of address that. When the original plans were laid out, we looked at that building. It's not a heritage building. It's a building that's in poor shape, in great need of repair. And because the building that we have now is located close to a repairing area, the way of dealing with that was to get rid of that building to compensate for this location. So that was the reasoning. That's how we worked around it. And that building is not salvageable. It'll cost you more it'll cost you a bunch more to fix it than to take it away.
But we're budgeting over $100,000 to tear it down. So I'm just wondering what the cost would be, what is actually needed. So it's just a conversation down the road before this happens. If there is a possibility of having the discussion to possibly not have it torn down, to do some repairs, whatever's needed, and to be able to have the community a space to rent, and that would be revenue for the town. So that's all I wanted to say on that tonight.
Councillor McGonigal?
I know in the original plans, the parking issue was part of the problem for looking at accommodating the demolition of the Millard Child. I know there is some interest in the community of keeping that perhaps as a community building. If it is to be investigated as to what the cost would be, whether it's asbestos mitigation, because it has been identified in there as well as the town hall. I believe we did an assessment at the same time. If it's going to cost more to fix it than our return on investment would be, I think it would be prudent to keep the original plan, given that the parking beside Fields is a vetted road actually, and it's not actually parking, it's a road, believe it or not, that goes right into the river. Dead end into the river, but it's a good conversation to have. Maybe investigate what the ramifications of continuing with that would be on the parking, on the allotment that we have to have by our zoning bylaws to accommodate people attending the building. But certainly a discussion we can have in the future.
And one more thing about the building, it does have lead paint on it. And that is one of the problems with the mediation too as well. And it would have to be torn off. All the siding would have to be torn off and started over again. So I don't know, but it's something to think about. Did you have anything, Mayor Day?
No, I've just made a note of the comments and we'll put it on a future agenda.
Thank you. Anything else under finances? Any other questions? Okay, moving right along. Building inspector's report for February 2022 for our information. Any questions on that? I know he's busy. I see him quite often. Okay, moving right along, we'll go down to number III. I guess that's a little 3, orientation for new council. I believe Mr. Fernandez has something that he's formulating.
I can respond to that. The CAOs of the area have gotten together looking at some options. And I know that this council would rather have an orientation just for this council. So I have been in touch with a consultant who would do maybe a series of workshops with this council, dealing with their role in governance, their authorities, difference between open and closed meetings, conflict of interest, and their conduct at meetings. So this, and what it takes to pass resolutions and bylaws. So this consultant is going to provide me with a proposal, and I'll bring it to you. And hopefully this will happen right after election, after people are sworn in at election time.
Okay, Councillor McGonigal.
Thank you very much. I don't want to hoard the conversation. I think it's incumbent on the outgoing council to also be involved with the new council coming in, perhaps as a mentorship portion. Those who do not intend to run again or are not successful, pointing out some of the stumbling blocks that we may have had in the past on some of the issues that our CAO has talked about, whether or not we stay in our own lane as policymakers instead of operational people, which we are not elected to do. So I would certainly like to, regardless of what transpires, have an opportunity to mentor the new council in their upcoming positions.
Councillor Sandhu.
Thank you. I was the one who actually had put this on the agenda. 2 weeks ago, I was at the CBRD meeting, and this item was addressed. And the CAO and many of the directors had the same concerns of like an introduction of meet and greet with our First Nations, working sessions with each department manager just for an overview of what their departments do, tour of the town's facilities. Again, the roles and responsibilities relative to council and staff, information on governance. And I think really timing is important. I think this needs to be finished, say by into mid-December. So come January 2023, the new council is ready to go. As somebody who came back after many years away, I really felt I had little understanding of just where the community, where the town was and finances and whatnot. And I just didn't think we gave enough time of an orientation. So I think this really is important. I like the idea of having a consultant and whether it's George Cuff or someone newer, whatever. I think that is a great move for the future. Thank you.
Yeah, we did have our George Cuff thing fairly quickly after our election, did we not?
Yes.
I think only the mayor and I went to that. The CVRD usually hires him for that. So we usually have that within a month or so of being elected. And then we have our LGLA in February. This came out talking about Victoria Council on one of the radio stations, and people were questioning people running for office and not knowing what their job is. And I thought we were going to do maybe a sheet up for when people come in to apply to run for council or mayor, a little sheet that has all the links on it for the community charter, the local government act, the leadership LGLA, and roles and responsibilities. And I think that would be important to hand out to people coming in to apply, because I know Ross did it for the last election. He put it on the Facebook page or something, I guess his own, explaining to people what it takes. You don't just run for office and all of a sudden think, you know, it's that easy. You need to know the rules and responsibilities. So I do think that would be important. And I know I love going to those George Cuff things and the LGLAs. We're going to another one in April to find out more information for our job. So if we could do that too, I think that would be important. Mayor Day.
Yes, thank you. So just taking some notes on some of the comments here. The last election, it was posted on election, whatever the year was, 2020, and then the links were all posted there. So it'd be really easy to guide people there, or with a front page to the nomination forms and whatnot. And I liked a couple of Councillor Sandhu's comments from the CVRD. It wouldn't hurt to do a 4-hour session with staff, just doing a sort of a roundtable and a quick tour of the facilities, just so, you know, because if anybody's new, they wouldn't even know where the water treatment plant was.
That's right.
And things like that. So I know that way back when that was done, when I first came on board 10 or so years ago. So that might be something to consider, as well as the consultants.
Right, thank you. The most information that we get is the best. Helpful. Is that it for orientation? Okay, can we move on to Lakeview Tour? I know we were going to try and pick a date. Has anybody got a date in mind yet? Anybody? Do we want to go in March? Do we want to go on like a Saturday? We got to go in March, I guess. I would say March. Councillor Sandhu, have you got?
Well, I don't really have a date, but I'd like it as soon as possible. And also before we pass the budget. So,
Okay, well then this coming Saturday, right? Or the week after, either the 12th or the 19th. Do you want it on a weekend or a weekday, or?
the 19th won't work.
Do we want it on a weekday? I think some of us work, so it's kind of hard. What?
Okay, let's pick a date.
I'd love to be there if possible.
Oh, we don't need you there. It's okay. We're gonna go by ourselves so we can pick. No,
That's fine, because I'm gonna go to Hawaii at the end of the month. I wanted to, so I'm just telling you that, but that's fine. You can tour it yourselves. But the other thing is, in April, we'll have done some things, some little improvements. At least you'll see some progress. So it's up to you. Of course, I'd love to be with you all when you're looking around,
Okay.
but otherwise, no problem.
Okay, what's your pleasure, folks? Councillor McGonigal?
I don't see it being important to have the tour prior to budget. I'm wondering what the intent of that was. If there's a concern about maybe capital projects, we have approved in principle, aside from final reading of the budget, those that came forward from staff. So an April tour, once some of those might have been implemented, maybe more advantageous to us to have a look to see what we have approved and then what is still needed. I would think April, a little bit warmer. Grandkids hockey season will be over. I can't make Saturdays. I'm not going to Hawaii, so I'll be there.
So, well, April might be fine then on maybe a Friday or something like that. Then it wouldn't have to be a Saturday, or don't forget we've got Easter on the 17th, 15th to 17th. So whatever, do you want to think about it and we can all email back and forth what a good date would be, or what a good date that Dalton, we've lost Dalton, but he said they were going to do some work in April. When would be a good time in April to go after the work is done then? Counselor Sandhu, did you have a date or anything?
Well, the reason I brought up budget is because I've been bringing this forward now for a few years regarding, there needs to be some TLC maintenance down at Lakeview. And that's why I've kind of asked the last couple of years for a tour for all of us to actually just see, you know, we need to give some money to our Lakeview manager with his, you know, along with his opinions and whatnot, whether it's this year or next year. But I just think we need to have this discussion, and to have a tour, we'll see firsthand exactly what I'm suggesting.
So do we
Could
want
we
to
do it like could we do it April 8th? Are you back? Like, that's a Friday?
Are you back?
We'll be
I'm
at
only going,
LG,
I'm only going for a week, so anytime in April is beautiful.
Well, let's pick.
LGLA is in April, is it not? On the
Oh,
last
Oh,
days on
yeah,
the
we're gonna be in Richmond. And the next week is Easter. This is
23rd.
this is why we've had problems before. We've tried. We don't want to go April 1st, do we? That might be kind of funny, but we could.
AVICC.
Yeah, it's ABIC.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because we got March the
Yeah, I suggest April 22nd.
Yes.
Okay, let's go April 22nd, Lakeview, and then hopefully some items will be done, and then we'll see. Okay, and we'll pick a time when we get closer to there, I guess sort of midday, 11 o'clock or something like that.
April 22nd, you said?
And Dalton's gonna buy lunch for us.
Sure.
Oh, Peter. Okay, I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. April 22nd. That seems so far away. I can't believe how fast this year is going. Okay, is that good for everybody then? Okay, we're going down to B, Public Works. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You know what? I'm sorry, I won't be there that date either. But you know what? You're welcome to go alone, no problem.
I better.
I'm committed.
We're gonna commit you in a minute. Okay.
Well, you can order Uber for us and we'll get,
Yeah, this won't be a holiday, so
Okay, well, I don't know what to do. Should we just think about it again? I mean, we could go in March one day, even just have a look if we want.
yeah, and also, and Jazz can also take you for a tour too, because some of the work has involved and is involving Public Works.
Okay, what about Friday, March 25th? Is that okay with everybody? Just to go have a look. We can make notes. Hello?
They can go, sure. Yeah.
You can use a thumb. Friday, March 20, we have nothing on that day, I'm sure. I've got like 5 calendars going on here. Is that okay? A Friday? Okay, and sort of midday, 11 or something like that?
I'm going to funeral April.
And Jazz can come with us if we want him to, if he wants to, right? Is that gonna work? Is that okay? Mr. Fernandez, is that sufficient?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so let's try March 25th, and then at least we'll be able to see what we think should be going on. We can make notes. Okay, I gotta change that now, March 25th. This year is going very fast. Okay, can we move down to Public Works now? Chief Administration Officer, legality of private sani dump stations. I believe we have a document here. that we received?
A memo, yes.
A memo? Did
And
someone?
yeah, and the gist of it, it's not allowed. It's not a legal use on private property.
I think what's been coming up, and there have been a few minor complaints in different areas, that people maybe have a trailer or something like that, fifth wheel, or whatever, hooked up onto their property for someone to live in, and that is not allowed. So what is the action if a neighbor is complaining about something like that? What action comes forward after that?
Well, a bylaw enforcement issue it becomes.
Is there a fine, or how does that,
Well,
like
there
if
is-
it's
Yeah, there are
illegal?
penalties. There are penalties, yes, indeed.
Okay,
So we'll have to go through a process, and it may involve litigation.
why would it involve litigation if it's illegal? If
Because if they refuse to remove it or
Okay, what's your-
correct the infraction.
Councillor Sandu?
So would there be a future bylaw to the CAO?
You don't need to. If it's not stated, if it's not a permitted use, you don't have to go out and send a bylaw saying it's not allowed. It's not allowed currently because it's got to be in conjunction with the building permit for it to be legal.
Okay.
And is there a set fine? Like is there a provincial fine or is it a set fine that the town?
Through the bylaw, yes. Up to 2,000, I believe.
So what would the process be then? Maybe send a letter to whoever has been has complained about somebody and then go from there, or?
Yeah, that would be the process, yes.
Okay, all right. Does that work for everybody? There's just been a few around, and it's something people need to know. Okay, we're going down to C, strategic planning, collect business plan. You're on, Mr. Smith.
I'm fine to submit a strategic plan for everybody. I think a business plan, and I'm not sure the reasoning, but a business plan, the more I think of it, we're actually doing, we're doing business now. We're reacting to a business plan that we've had for years. And now that COVID's over, we've had, great results in booking right through sometimes right through till October 20th, I think. And good bookings, new bookings. One group has booked seven particular weekends and another 5-day retreat in the summer. Summer's booked solid. Now, having said that, unless something happens like a COVID again, and that's the business plan that I work within, but I'd be interested in hearing what you really want, quite frankly.
Okay, who would like to speak to that? Mayor Day.
Well, this topic has come up because it's in our strategic plan, and I know that staff was involved in that. And when the conversation happened on the strategic plan with the collect business plan, I know that Mr. Smith, you made some remarks about working together with other folks and things like that, and exciting plans for the future. So I think that's what we were excited to hear.
Okay.
When it came up on the strategic plan. So more or less
okay.
We're looking for hopefully an update because it's slated to be done in 2022.
Okay, then I can respond to that. In fact, then I'm with you as far as that's concerned. Like a strategic plan is something completely different than a business plan. And as far as a strategic plan, we are working with some possibilities with different partners that are interested in working closely with us. And one part of that business plan is a group that's just, as I started to say, has organized, 7 recent bookings confirmed over the last few days and going into the summer even. Not the summer group that we usually have, but something new. And so I can't name the organizations at this point. I think it's better to do that because it's confidential to, I think at this point, to management and to the CAO, because the groups don't want their names given out. So I don't want to say it publicly. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to handle that. I'm pleased to report that to council, but I think it has to be in different terms.
Yeah. Councillor Sandu.
Thank you. No, I just had a question, like, do you reach out to previous people that come as a group to stay previous years and, you know, kind of a flyer type of thing? Hey, we're here, we're back. COVID's, you know, it's almost over and type of thing, like to try and, you know, just light the fire under people, like, hey, we are open again. And that's what I'm talking about when I say business
Okay.
plan is.
See, that's a fair enough question as well. In fact, just over the last few weeks, there's dialogue like that continually over the last months and last couple of years, constantly. And that's why we were able to get groups like the school district or different organizations, or even last summer, and you know, working with the groups that we had. So we were quite busy given COVID with the restrictions. But yes, we're in I'm in constant contact with groups, and that's why we've been able to sort of cement the bookings that we've just done. And talking yesterday with our head cook, we start up, for example, on the 14th of this March coming. And so, you know, kitchen's getting redone with, you know, the things that you have to do from year to year. And, you know, I handed her all the bookings that we've got right through till October. So that's as a result of talking with people constantly, because we've had some bookings in the past that they've had to be canceled. And then Omicron came again and visited our world, and things got put back again. So these are the things that are coming to fruition after being in constant contact. The other thing that you have to know is that our website, that we have a direct form that comes to us. So if someone looks up our Town Lake Couch and goes to our website, then there's a form that comes to me, and they fill out their phone number, their email address, etc. And that's how, and I respond to them, you know, in a timely fashion. And that's how we're also getting some of these new bookings. And also, I should mention that one recent group has come, a couple of organizations have come to us because the research center that I had referred the police to originally is very busy. So they can't take some of the people that they had in the past. So they're coming, and they've been to us in the past as well. Like the mycology group, for example, they used to come to the center, went to the Forest Research Station. So it's constant. The phone rings a lot, but more so it's a lot on email, and we do a lot of you know, talking on the phones. And I must say that our First Nations partners have been excellent. And that's a particular group that's had to cancel a number of times, and then now they're booked again, for example. So yeah, it's quite busy. We reach out, and all of our old customers are coming back. We have a spinner and weaving group that come usually in February. They had to cancel, now they're going to come in September. But it's dialogue. It's many different emails going back and forth. And also we have one firm wedding that we can do that's out of season, just for an example. That happens in September. And many requests for July and August weddings, but of course we don't do that. And I think that there'll be even more weddings on the shoulder season if they can get in. But you know, we're getting limited weekends now. And most of them are weekend bookings. And that's the other thing I should mention, is that the bookings now are not for as many people. We'd prefer 60 or 70. 20 is a group size that we will take, but no less than that. It doesn't make sense. So a lot of the groups right now, because they haven't had time because of COVID to get organized so much, they have smaller numbers. But that's part of doing business. You know, we have to be like the rest of the world and cope with that for a bit longer.
Thank you. Councillor Sandhu, did you have a follow-up?
I did. Just so when I was talking about like a mail blitz is like, I mean, a mail blitz of all past groups, whatnot, over the last however many years, through, not through email, but through mail, is something like that. They call it mail blitz. So just, that's all I'm asking, is just.
Yeah, Christine, we've not done that for many years because we've been so electronic. I mean, it's another way of looking at it. Of course, we don't even redo our pamphlets that we used to hand out so much because people are looking up everything online.
Yeah, that's true.
And the other thing is that we've worked our way out of school groups. Most school groups can't afford to come and travel to us or to the research station or to Strathcona Park Lodge, places that are great facilities for students. It's getting too expensive for them. So now we're concentrating more on adult groups or adult groups that bring children.
I'm just looking to just how we can make, increase the revenue at COTW, in the
Yeah.
future. That's just why I'm kind of saying what I'm saying. So thank you
All
very
fair
much.
questions.
Councilor McGonigal.
I think we all realize and understand the value of CLEC, but we also hear the rumblings of taxpayers who want to see it in the red, so to speak, and any or the black, because red is not good. Black is okay. I'm wearing black. But we've heard that constantly, and we understand the economic spinoff, and we understand the employment, and we understand the limitations of what is allowed on that property. If it is to be discontinued under its current state, it would revert back to the province, period, if we were looking at, so we have to weigh the economic benefit with the economic shortfall, and how to accommodate closing that gap. We've talked constantly about off-season, and that's a problematic time to try to encourage people to come to a remote area that is rustic. But if we can look at how to accommodate that under eco-tours or some option of environmental enthusiasm, etc., in that business plan, it could accommodate that gap lessening. So I'm not going to berate the CLEC, because we all know that it's a great location, it's a great facility, it's rustic, but it is it's comfortable. How do we move from what we've done in the past to what we can accommodate in the future to make that an operational, profitable business? And that's the struggle, not only for the manager, not only for the CAO, but also for council to justify those shortfalls. And that's just where we come from as elected officials. We're not, questioning the bookings or questioning. We're wondering what we can do as an organization to accommodate a little better revenue. That's all we're looking at.
Thank you. Anything else on that? Thank you, Mr. Smith. And have fun in Hawaii, you brat. We're going on to Tourism 2022. Mayor Day, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, we are approaching another tourism season, and I know we held a roundtable last year to discuss issues with some organizations within the community. I would just want to test the water, see if council was wanting to look at something like that again, to gather input from those out there, businesses and tourism operators. And also just an update on anything new that will be happening at the visitor center and with the parking.
On the issue of parking, it's going to be the same as last year, except we may tweak it a bit more. And, because it's dealing with personnel issues, it's not something that it's appropriate to discuss here.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so I see Mr. Smith, sorry, I see Mr. Smith is
He's
not in the room
left us.
anymore.
Oh, he fell off his
There
chair.
you go.
Any new and exciting plans for the upcoming tourism season at the Info Center, I guess is my short question.
Okay, well, I guess we've decided that as in past years, last year, we'll be hiring staff and getting them ready to go in there for the May 21st long weekend, but we hopefully may start the week before that. So the people that work in there will be up to speed. And we've been on a couple of Zoom calls with, Tourism British Columbia, and everyone is just gearing up for a very busy year. So I think as long as we're able to run the center like we did last year, I think it'll be very successful. And it all depends on good staff, as you all know.
All right.
Okay.
So
Oh, we
Councilor
lost-
McGonigal.
And I know there's some people who cringe when tourist season comes and they want the town to put a gate up at the Y and not let anyone in because there's too many people. But when you think of what businesses are benefiting from the tourism that does come, and there are problems when we have an influx of people. Let's not forget that perhaps this year's Sunfest will be here as well, and other music concerts within that facility. So it may be considerably busier than even last year. And we saw 40% uptick in some businesses from even the year before. People staying, having a staycation. But we don't have the authority to put a gate up and keep people out of our community. And we would be silly to do that. We are transitioning from a total resource-based community to a partial resource and mainly tourist recreation facility destination. So we've got to accommodate how we best can the people that are coming. There will be problems, as there has been in the past. There will be phone calls. We'll all get them and emails, but I can't put a gate up. I'm sorry.
Mayor Day, did you have a date for a roundtable, or do you just want to wait another month after we've been to the AVICC and everything?
if we could try and plan something for the end of April, first week of May, that would be.
End of April, okay. And I just had a question about the info center, and is it possible to have it open 7 days a week?
You want to leave it to staff to deal with that?
Yes, I'm just asking the question, if I may.
Okay. Yeah,
Just during
we'll,
that period, because it doesn't need to be open the rest of the year, obviously 7 days a week or anything like that, but during that time and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mayor Day, on Tourism BC or Tourism 2022? Okay, we'll go down to D, the mayor's report. You had something?
I wonder if I can just add a comment I forgot to mention before, actually.
Sure.
We have a softball tournament coming into our community in the next little while, as some of you may have heard, and fields will be busy, etc. But we've made a deal with the organizers to bring their teams prior to the opening of Lakeview Park, just to let you know, and they'll be in, I think it's the weekend before, so we're doing our maintenance and everything else ahead of time on that. So that's in May. And I just thought you should know about it, that's all. I forgot.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good idea. That's great. Okay. Mayor Day.
All right, thank you very much. I just wanted to make council aware of there's been a resident up on Upper Neva Road that approached the town to ask some questions and about what it would take to become part of the town. And that individual also went on a public relations campaign on their own accord up on that end of the road. So at this point, that's where that lies. But there was a meeting on February 25th with myself, the CEO, and Area F Director, Morrison, as well as 4 residents from Upper Neva, just so they could ask questions and hear from staff what would be a way, how they move forward if they want to approach the town, or how they would approach the CVRD for some enhanced servicing on that street. So I just want to make you aware that that meeting happened, and that so if you hear rumors in the community that people on Neva want to come into town or something, that you'll know that it was upon their request to have the meeting to gather information, and they decided to go back and talk to the residents on the street. So right now it's nothing to do with council, it's nothing to do with staff, because nothing official has arrived on the CEO's desk. But I just want to make you aware that that meeting happened.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Councilor McGonigal.
I think one of the one of the questions was how they could be accommodated in water or sewer infrastructure. And we do provide water to residents outside of the town jurisdiction on a different rate than we do currently for those within the town. I'm not sure that we do sewer accommodations to outside residents. That is not something that we currently do, but we have provided water to outside users for a fee. If that's the intent to come into the town for that, it would be no different than Greendale when they came in to the town. It would be a similar responsibility, I would think, for the infrastructure moving forward. But I may be getting ahead of myself there as Joe's putting his hand up. But I know
Yeah.
there was some concerns about that sort of infrastructure.
No, we did have that discussion at the meeting. They have to pay the full cost of upgrading the water and the sewer. Unlike Greendale, which was a society and they turned over monies to us, a little different because, so it's not the same. So they are aware that they have to pay the full cost.
And there is some political ramifications of dealing with an electoral area adjacent to our municipality, and we don't want to be deemed as thieving their residents. So it has to come from them, as you said, Mayor Day.
Okay, you have Mayor Day?
Yeah, just something to sort of finish it off. And it was good that Director Morrison was there as well, because he provided some solutions, at least for the water portion of it, that could be managed within the CVRD itself. So the folks went away with some good information. And like I say, if they follow through with it, it does take 51% of a prescribed area to even approach. And then it would be a council decision if any area decided they wanted to become part of the town. And one of the points that was brought up too is that we have to increase our capacity, especially in the sewage department, before we really even want to consider those type of things.
Right. Thank you. Good information. Hope people are listening because it's really important. We're going to go to new business, Lakeview Gate. Councillor Sandu, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, thank you. I just want to bring back to have the discussion on the closed gate for access to Lakeview Beach. Last weekend, there was people that were trying to get down to the water for a swim. There was a group of 3 people that went for a swim, and there was some struggles of that hill. And this is just something I feel is, just because in the past there's been a few incidents of parties down at the beach. And I was one of those youths, but we never destroyed anything. We just went down there and swam at midnight, whatever. But when residents that live along Lakeview Beach complain about noise, well, that's a public beach that has been there long before Point Ideal.
That's right.
And I feel that people have the right to that public access. It's the only access to the water that could be wheelchair accessible. And that's one of the issues. So I want to bring forth a motion tonight that we remove the gate from March 1st to October 31st each year. And that that it's open 24 hours a day.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor McGonigal? Discussion? Any discussion on that? Councillor McGonigal?
Just piggybacking on the access part, I know there are a few people with mobility issues that do utilize that year round. I would like to see the ramifications, the financial ramifications within that discussion, whether we're going to accommodate toilet facilities, etc. For opening and closing, or it's going to be a porta potty, or is there going to be staff needed for tours, security. So I would be in favor of investigating the possibility of opening from March 1st to October 31st, as you stated. And by putting this motion forward, that would direct staff to have a look at what the financial implications, the employment expectations, et cetera, and the liabilities perhaps to the organization as well. So just wanted to bring that up.
So would that be an amendment to the motion, or do we want to change the motion and just have a discussion? Councillor Sandu.
I apologize. I meant to add a porta potty be put there until Lakeview Campground is open with staff. So that was part, so I apologize for that.
Do we still want that to be the full motion? Or are we going to just keep having a discussion on
Well,
that?
I don't want to sit here and discuss this any longer. This gate needs to be open. If neighbors have an issue with noise, whatnot, then they call 911. The police can go down there and deal with it. But there's more, in my opinion, a liability with that gate closed and people walking down that rough, uneven hill, which I have fallen on before. That's a liability. So I don't want to discuss this another month down the road. I really, really would like to see the gate open for our community to use and enjoy.
Okay, and I just had one thing to say. I took a person on a parks tour a couple of weeks ago, and someone had broken the chain and the gate was open and people were down there. So I myself feel that the gate should be open, but we also should check into liability or anything else like that, what the cost of a porta potty would be to put down there, because that's a long way for the guy to drive in, isn't it? For the porta potty. So I don't know. I guess I'll ask any more questions on this, or should we take a vote? Mayor Day?
Well, I just wanted to say that I would support this motion. I would possibly consider moving the date further ahead to the warmer weather, but and just have that discussion. Is there not washrooms down there already?
They're closed though. They're not open at this time of year.
Correct. In the past, has there been washrooms down there when there was access to the lake?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay.
Unless there was an outhouse or something. Councillor Sandu?
Well, we have a porta potty at Saywell Park. The staff has nothing to do with it. This company comes in, cleans it, replaces it, whatever. So this is why I was asking about the COVID grant funds, if there was still money in that for something like this porta potty. Because to me, that would, it's about getting people outside moving, and whether it's cold for us, people are outside. And if they want to go sit down at the beach and have a picnic bundled up, whatever, they can do that. But we just need to have it accessible for our community. And you're hearing more of that all the time. And really, I don't understand why it was locked up over a few complaints. I'll never understand that.
Do we want, have your back, Council? I'm going to go to, shall we take the vote then? All in favor of having an open March 1st till October 31st with a porta potty if possible, or how did you want to put the porta potty in there?
Well, I'd rather see a porta potty go down there for 2 months, than people going into the bushes.
Okay.
So,
Okay, all those in favor of the motion? I'll vote as well. Okay. Opposed? None. Okay. So we leave it to staff now to carry that through. Does that work out? You're frowning, Mayor Day. Is it okay? Is it all good? Whoops, I lost my thing here.
Just looking at Mr. Fernandez, waiting for him to make a washroom about or a comment about the washroom cost.
He's going
Well,
to.
not the cost, just whether they can do it, they can take it down there. So that's the only thing.
Well, I was thinking the porta potty could go up at the top. It wouldn't have to be at the very bottom because that would be up and down, I don't know.
I would leave that to staff.
I'm just gonna say the old days when we had the boat races and that, there were porta potties brought down there. Like,
Were
come
there?
on, it's a road, there's
Okay,
access. I
I didn't know if that was the case or not. Okay, we got that sorted, have we? Is that good? I'm lost now. Where are we? New business we did. Notices of motion, or there were none that I know of. Is there anything that's come up? No, okay. Question period, our famous question period. 3 minutes per person. You may phone 749-6681, extension 102, or email general@lakecowichan.ca. Again, any questions on whatever has been on the agenda? And that includes the additions to the agenda. 749-6681, extension 102, or email general@lakecowichan.ca. And we'll come back at 5:58. Thank you.
Oh.
Getting pretty dark here. 'Oh, somebody dinged me. $5:58. Is everybody coming back? Let's see if Mr. Fernandez is. Did we get any questions?
Nothing at all.
Oh, come on. Are you
No,
sure?
nothing.
I don't know. What's everybody doing? They're out walking around. It's actually quite nice outside.
That's right. Good weather.
Okay, so is that it for today then? Everything's finished off and I just need an adjournment. From Councillor Sandu and Mayor Day, all in favor? We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Now I've forgotten what date we picked for the 25th for the, okay.
You got
Lakeview,
it.
right?
Okay.
I got
Night,
3
everybody.
calendars on the go.